Today we have a 4.0 pickleball match that was recorded, and it's titled, "This is what 4.0 pickleball looks like in San Diego, California." So this was taken at the end of 2024, and when you shoot a video like this, there's always comments like, this isn't 4.0, and some people are saying it's higher, some people might think it's lower, but inevitably you get people saying things like that. So I wanted, as a coach, to kind of point out what looks 4.0 to me in this game, and the differences between like 3.5 and 4.5 versus this, assuming it is actually 4.0, which I'm sure it is. And you also have people saying, ratings are regional, so a 4.0 in California might be different than a 4.0 where you play, whether it be better or worse. But let's watch the game and see how the points play out. So we have lefty and righty on near side, and far side, two right-handed players. There's good communication on the third. Couldn't quite get the reset. One thing I notice about 4.0 play is they usually hit a lot harder and they're a lot more aggressive, but way less consistent than like a 4.5. 4.5 is usually, that was a really good play. Nice poach. 4.5s are usually still pretty aggressive, but have prioritized consistency a lot more on average. And are able to hit resets a lot better from like their feet. It's a missed return. They are stacking on the near side, which I've mentioned before is more common to do early on when you have a lefty. So even though this is 4.0, missed it around the post. Even though this is 4.0, it doesn't surprise me that a lefty is already stacking. I mean, I've seen 3.0, 3.5s, definitely 3.5 lefties stacking. Again, it's more normal because lefties usually want their forehand in the middle, so do righties. So it just makes sense when you're playing with a righty. But yeah, looking at it already, we got some consistency issues, but the players seem to know the game pretty well. They're making pretty good decisions overall, just not quite consistent. I would say 4.5s give themselves a lot more room for error on their average shot. A lot of these thirds and fifths, these drop shots, that was a really good reset, but are just a foot or two higher on average than what you would see like at a 4.5 level. Not going for much on the serve, which is not uncommon. The near side, I think these players are, I can't tell if how well they know each other or not know each other, but the near side, I think this is like their first game together, but they're doing a really good job of the middle balls and conceding to each other when there's a middle ball. It seems like this guy that just served is kind of getting priority over middle balls. And the right-handed player on the left side's letting him have it, which is good to see. And you see a lot of people clash when they have both forehands in the middle when they're not used to each other. So high-level thing going on there. A great dink rally. It's like this point alone looks like a 4-5. I think that's a really aggressive dink. That backhand that he's hitting on the near side here, very good, very aggressive. This player here, let's pause it real fast. I rewound it a bit, and this player here is hitting some really good cross-court aggressive dinks from his backhand. Let's watch him hit these a little bit. Boom, that little topspin dink, that's really hard for his opponent not to pop it up. His opponent was doing good, not popping it up, but very good dinks on the near side here. That point alone looked 4.5. But then you have the thirds, and there's a great drive. Close on the reset. Again, 4.5. You'll see a lot more of these fifth shots going in at the 4.5 and particularly 5.0 level. Tough return. Yeah, the thirds and fifths just look lower than 4.5, I think, is the big takeaway here. they're they're like trying to go right over the net on a lot of their thirds and fifths, and then sometimes they're missing it and it's just kind of flying off their paddle too high. But again, like here, he over here he had a lot of court, and he tried to go again just right over the net and hit a winner, and it just clipped the net. You don't need to be that aggressive when your opponents are back here. Like, you have a lot of court to work with. You don't have to hit it perfect. It's okay if the point goes a little longer, but when you have a positional advantage like that, you don't want to give it up. And there we see it again. Like, if this is a 4-5 game, you would see a lot more of these fifths going in. It's a good third shot drive. That was a great fifth. And a great poach. Missed it, but at least he was in position to do it. Again, they know the game. They're doing well, particularly this near side. That's who I'm watching the most. But then they're just a lot of mishits. Not as much consistency. I think he just called 2-5. I'm not sure. Near side's doing a good job of making their opponent's life difficult getting into the kitchen. Let's pause it here. I want to point out this stacking. So this is what I would call a traditional stack. He's stacked off the court here. A more modern stack would be if he's here and then slides over. But he's starting here and slides over. This person returning it is going to fill in and come here. Now, this is how pretty much everyone used to stack. That's why I call it traditional. But the problem with it is if you give a weak return, so if this guy hits a weak return, you can't really call stay. Like, the good thing about the modern stack on the return is you can come here or you can stay, and this person can come up here. It's like an audible. But here, it leaves this person no choice but to go over here. So just something I'm pointing out. And the far side isn't putting a lot of pressure on their serves, so it's probably not a problem. But if you're playing against players that are hitting really good serves, like, they might scoot out here. Like, if I see someone traditional stacking like this, I would probably move out here and hit a pretty... I don't even have to kill the serve, but hitting a ball just that's wide like this. So then he's here, and then his returner is out here, and now they're scrambling to get over here. And then you can just hit your third down here as this person's scrambling. But something they're not really punishing over here, which is, again, this is 4.0 play, so I don't necessarily expect them to punish it, but something that I'm noticing as they're playing. He did do a good job of going here as this person's running it. Caused an error. Here's the traditional stack again. Would really love to see the more modern stack where they have a choice to audible if the return's bad. Great pressure. Far side having a really tough time getting to the kitchen on their thirds and fifths. Sounds like 5-4. Missed a serve.
Nice drop, dude. Nice drop. You showing Kyle how to do it?
Not going for a lot on their serves and still missing serves and returns is not great, but that was a pretty good fifth. Okay, seventh.
Oh, yeah. It's so bad. Good job, dude.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of... It's better than 3-5. I mean, at 3-5, you're going to see a lot more thirds going high, and then getting slammed. Here, at least, you're seeing well, that one was really high, but here you're at least seeing the arc a lot more, a lot better than like a 3-5. A lot of 3-5's arc is still a little bit too flat. But it looks like they're trying to figure out the thirds, and that was a pretty good third shot drive. Left the fifth high. This person came in on a high fifth. If your partner hits a high drop, you would generally want to take a step or two back and try to defend your feet. So that's another thing I'm noticing here is, like, positioning off of your partner's thirds and fifths. Let's watch it. That was a good drive, but here it is. So you can't see him, but he was just watching his partner hit, which is good. That's step one. But then when you see it come off a little bit hot and it's going to get slammed, you wouldn't want to charge in. You'd want to stay or go back a step or two. But as you see in this point, he does stop, but he just gets in a bad spot, and his paddle was a little high. He could have also been ready a little bit lower with his paddle when he noticed the ball was popped up high. It's a good third shot drive, great fifth shot drop, and great dink rally. So again, this point by itself looks like 4.5. If minus the ATP that was way off, that point looked very 4.5. If that's what the points look like on average, yeah, it's probably a 4.5 game, but it's not. Great drive. Something I want to point out on these drives, let's look at that. We're going to rewind. Here's the drive. So this player's hit a couple of good third shot drives, very low to the net. So if I'm this person, if I'm coaching this person, I would encourage them heavily to take these cheat steps in to about here. So when this return comes and he steps over to hit this third shot drive, I would want this player to take these cheat steps in and then kind of follow the drive. So basically what happens, you don't really have time to figure out, is the drive good or not? If he's hitting a drop shot, you kind of have time to figure out, is it going to be good or is it too high and it's going to get slammed? You have time. So you'd take the cheat steps, watch. If it's too high, you would step back. If it's good, you go in. But on the drive, you don't really have that time. So what I do is when my partner's basically on fire, or if they've hit a bunch of good ones, they've shown me they can hit low, solid drives like he's done in the last couple of times. That's when I'll go in, and right when he drives it, I'll look to hunt. I'll look to come in based on if he hits it at this person, I might come over here and try to poach. If he hits it more middle, I might stay here, but looking to reward myself for when they pop up a ball. Like if they pop up a ball trying to get it back to him, I'm coming in looking to slam these balls. But we're staying back, and that's not allowing us to put pressure on his good drive. So again, a positional thing that I'm seeing right there. That was a great example. We're letting him have so much court because we're not coming in looking to slam balls that are up here popped up. When you're hitting a good low drive like this player keeps hitting, it's very natural for the opponents to give you either a short volley that's in here that you'll run in and then drop, or they'll do what he just did, which is like kind of float it, and that's when you want to come in here and then slam it back at them. So positional things I'm seeing. Let's watch that point again without me talking. They still won the point, but they had to hit a fifth shot from here instead of a fifth shot slam. So something, again, positional thing I'm noticing as a player and a coach.
Yeah, if you like that, call it, but it was like kind of curving towards me.
A little miscommunicate. They both wanted that drive, and then I think the person that hit it kind of pulled back, and the person that didn't hit it wasn't in position, like we just talked about. That was an excellent dink. Great backhand dink. Let's hear the score. I don't know if he called it. Good. I like this player here moving over while his partner's coming in, not letting his opponents get his feet here. This player did it. He moved in while he's hitting a drive. That's the cheat steps that allows him to come in and pressure a ball when their opponents pop it up. So one thing I tell people a lot, when you're the serving team, it's not that bad to make some kind of higher risk, higher reward things, because you basically start every point with a positional disadvantage. Now, when you're the returning team and you return and you move in, and then you have both of you at the kitchen, you don't really want to make a lot of mistakes when you're both at the kitchen and your opponents are back here trying to work their way into the kitchen. So less mistakes, and make your opponents earn it when you're the returning team. And when you're the serving team, well, you might want to position a little more aggressive, or take a shot that you might not normally attack if you're playing a little bit safer. And I'm not saying like just swing for the fences, but some like educated pressure position and shots, and again, higher risk, higher reward type of stuff when you're the serving team is generally a good thing to do. Otherwise, you'll just feel like you're just drowning under their pressure, or you're having to hit third shot, fifth shot, seventh shot drop, and you're just never getting in. Missed high backhand. Those are frustrating to miss.
8-4-1.
8-4. Near side looks pretty dominant, and they are winning. That was a really good return. Deep and kind of skippy. It's a great return from the opponent. That's a great spot. This is a pretty high level spot to go, as I've mentioned before. Just kind of outside of their backhand on that drop. And then you get to come squeeze the court. It's a decent drive. It left it a bit high, but left it low enough also to kind of make an unforced error from his opponent. Slightly forced error. And here we have another point that looks, if you were to just watch a bunch of points like this, looks more closer to a 4-5. But as you've seen, there's a lot of consistency problems that make it look more like a 4-0. But their pickleball IQ and their shot selection overall is higher than 3-5 from what I'm seeing. And they're hitting the ball. The video always makes the ball look like it's being hit not hard at all. They are hitting the ball fairly hard on some of these shots, so it's hard to tell with the camera. But if you were there playing, you would feel a lot of these shots being harder than they look. Good hands on the counterattack. The players on the far side look more to me like high threes, like 3.8, 3.9s, maybe even 4, 4.1, something in there. This player, the lefty, has a lot better shots on average and is positioning a lot better. I would say he looks more like a 4.2, 4.3, maybe even a 4.5, but consistency is down, so probably 4.2, 4 point, something like that. And player just served, that's moving in. Again, has IQ and shot selection, and has some moments that look like a 4-5, and that backhand dink 4.5 level. But then consistency problems on like thirds and fifths of like a 3.8, 3.9. So on average, he's probably like 4.0, 4.1, maybe even 4.2. Not sure, depending on how consistent he is that game. But yeah, near side just looking a bit better on average, probably 0.2, 0.3 on average, better than the other team from what I've seen in this game so far. But still, 7-10, I think he just called, which is not a complete blowout. So that was a great hunt, great third, and he followed the good third and then got an attack. That's why you follow the good ones. A lot of people at 3.5 and particularly 3.0, they'll hit a good shot, they'll hit a good drop shot, and then just kind of stay back. And it's like, what's the point? Follow the good ones. Good overheads. That's a good one. They follow, they're in. Again, there's another point that looks more like a 4.5 than 4.0. But then you'll have too many points here where they just pop up a third or they hit a fifth into the net. Good return. There, just what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to go right over the net every third. You can give yourself more room for error, particularly if it's dropping as it goes past the net, which is why I call it a drop shot. You want that ball dropping. 10-9-1. It's a close game. I'm surprised it's that close. Like I said, the near side seems to be controlling more of the points. Again, that last one, he has lots of court. Both of his opponents are back. He has the positional advantage. He doesn't have a shot he can really attack hard, but he still tried to attack it hard, just went in the net. So just shot selection in general is they're trying. This group all tends to be trying to do too much with their shots. Like I want to see at 4-5 level, you'll see a lot more giving yourself more room for error with your targets. And another thing I pointed out was the positioning. Some positional choices were more of 4-0 or high 3-5 level of positional choices. But yeah, overall, I think these players hitting good thirds. The fifths, they're very inconsistent. The thirds are not like a 4.5, but definitely 4.0. But yeah, that's kind of what I see. I like the stacking, lefty stacking, pretty normal. I don't really like the traditional stacking where you're here moving in and this person's moving in. But, again, it doesn't matter too much when you're not getting a lot of pressure on the serve. You can kind of do either way. But I'd like to see, like, going up to 4-5 when you start getting heavier and heavier serves to do that traditional stacking or the modern stacking so you can switch or stay. Yeah, that was fun to kind of review and talk about what it's like, 4.0 game in San Diego, California. So that's kind of fun. That's it for today, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.